Blessings, blessings. This is Marsha Jones, Washington. And yes, I want to welcome you to yet another episode of 30 Minutes With. I'm not going to fully introduce myself because that will be coming up in a minute when the episode officially begins. But I do just want to let you know that I am interviewing someone today who is a trained musician, a harpist to be exact. She's going to be talking about how she incorporates playing the harp with the type of spiritual care that she provides. However, at the end of this episode, we were going to go out with her playing her harp, playing a piece for us. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the sound or the equipment to go just right. You could say we ran into some technical difficulties, and so instead, I will be playing a pre-recorded piece by this particular guest. So I still want you to listen in. I believe you're going to learn a little something about thanatology if you're not already familiar with it. And one thing I have been failing to do is to ask you all to please, if you like an episode here, yes, like it, subscribe to this channel, and also tell others about it so that they can come back and also enjoy some of the wonderful guests that I interview here on 30 Minutes With. All right, thanks so much, and God bless. Stay tuned. An episode of 30 Minutes With, and maybe this is your first time stopping by, so just want to introduce myself. I'm Marsha Jones Washington, and I am the founder and facilitator of PA Women of Chaplaincy and Pastoral Care, which is an online networking group. We meet once a month online, and so this is an extension of that, because here in this space, I'm usually interviewing a woman who is in chaplaincy, pastoral care, or some form of ministry. And today is no different, but it is somewhat of a different type of spiritual care that we'll be discussing today. So we are going to be spending 30 minutes with Chaplain DeLong. Chaplain, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you here today. And so, Chaplain, because we only have about 30 minutes to get to know a little bit about you and the work that you do, let's just jump right in. So, you are a harpist thanatologist. And so I just want to, would like you to talk about what is thanatology, because a lot of people out there may not understand what that's about. I only know a little bit from what I've read. So why don't you share on what it is?
Thanatos is the Greek god of death in mythology. And thanatology is the study of death and dying. And I actually am a music-thanatologist, which means I bring a small harp and my singing voice to the bedside of people who are on hospice or palliative care, and who are, I'm going to say, in relationship with their mortality.
All right. All right. And so I didn't realize you also sing. So, well, that's great. That is great. And so now, as a harpist, I'm taking it that you have been training on that for a while. I think I heard on the NPR interview that you did. I think I heard, did you start at 11 learning the harp?
I did. And really, I believe it was my mother's dream for herself. And, parents oftentimes do for their children what they would like to have had for themselves. So,
Yes.
yeah, it
Uh,
was my mother who got me started on the harp.
I see. And so I'm wondering now, did you play in any type of orchestras or, um, I can't say band, I suppose. I don't think I've heard, but what type of other musical journeys have you had? Let's say that.
In college, I played in the university orchestra. I have collaborated with many other musicians, primarily with cellists, flutists, and right now I'm preparing a concert with my daughter, who also plays the harp, and a classical guitarist and violinist. So we're putting together a little holiday event.
Mm. Oh, that sounds wonderful. That really does. Um, and so, but now I'm wondering, so what made you combine playing the harp with your work that you do in terms of spiritual care? How did that come about?
I was actually working in a harp store for the premier harp maker in the world. And we bumped into 2008 and 2009, which were tough years financially. And the pressure to meet sales goals was really, well, let's just say it shined a light on the fact that I wanted more from my relationship with the harp. I wanted to do something more meaningful that would not only bless other people's lives, but that would sustain me in a very meaningful way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So at that point, I got the training. It took a few years. It was a low residency program where much of it was done online, but then twice a year I would spend a week in a Benedictine monastery with my faculty and my cohort. And then I got to work in 2014.
All right, all right. Um, and your journey sounds similar to mine in some degree, especially in terms of what happened around that 2008, 2009 time period, because I was actually working as a receptionist at that time. And my employer decided that they, needed to make some cutbacks. And I didn't get caught up in there was a first wave. I think I was in that second wave of people that were let go. It was like nothing having to do with my work, but, in terms of receptionists, well, they could just go with an automated system, which is what they did. And for me, but I had that moment of, okay, Lord, so what do I really want to be when I grow up? And so that's what led me to going back to school and completing my bachelor's, because I had already started with completing my bachelor's in community ministry. Then I went on
Mm.
to get my master's in pastoral studies, which led me to chaplaincy for several years. So again,
Yeah.
just had that similar type of, yeah, I think I need to do something different here.
And then I moved to New York City
Yeah.
and worked at Bellevue Hospital. I worked for Visiting Nurse Service of New York with their hospice patients, particularly served at Mount Sinai Hospital. And it was then that I wanted more education around other ethnic and religious practices related to the end of life.
Okay.
And so it was in 2017 that I entered an interfaith seminary, because people really become, let's just say, their faith traditions show up when they are at the end of life. And I wanted more understanding, and I wanted to do a better job serving as a music thanatologist.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a couple of different questions swirling around in my head. First of all, I think I want to know when you first started doing this as a music thanatologist, when you first started incorporating your harp playing. How was that received by the patients, and also sometimes that there are patients and family members that are there? How, talk about that.
Music is medicine that can be administered to everyone who hears it. There are no side effects, no negative side effects. Patients tend to, their nervous system tends to be calmed. And this is something that I can observe as their respiration slows down. And one of the things that I do is I try to match the rhythm of the music with the patient's respiration. And it's a very subtle way of companioning them. And I think it's particularly effective for the unresponsive patient who might feel isolated or afraid. And if I can walk along beside them with the music, they oftentimes will have a physiological response that tells me their body is relaxing a little bit, or that maybe they're working a little less hard. And then for family members, it offers them a moment during what may be very stressful or traumatic for them, a moment of beauty, a moment that they can share with their beloved person who they are anticipating losing, perhaps. And it really helps them kind of show up in the moment. So oftentimes that family member or caregiver has been on this journey for many months with their person, or maybe many years. They're tired, they've been holding it together. There's so much going on with those who surround the patient that oftentimes there's a release of emotion, and there will be tears, which I think is really useful for them to release what they've been holding.
And so, or it sounds to me you actually create, this sacred space
It
for
really does.
or maybe family. Yeah.
And I also want to mention staff. They are oftentimes very stressed out and so many demands on their time. And I have walked out of a patient room on many occasions and found a nurse or a doctor or someone just standing outside the door listening. And they'll say, I just needed a minute to listen.
Yes. I was thinking they needed that too.
Yeah, they really do. And the best thing that I can say is that the music changes the energy in the room or in the area where it's heard. And it the vibrations, while you think this is kind of a soft instrument, the vibrations penetrate the space, and the body and the mind all receive the vibrations, and it can be very helpful.
Okay. That is very fascinating. It really is. And I again, from listening to the NPR interview, I think I heard where they said there are only about 100 of you worldwide. And now I forget, is it music thanatologists, or is that for those who play the harp? That there's about 100.
That's certified music thanatologists.
Okay, that's really not a lot for throughout the world.
Unfortunately, that is true. And it would be so nice if there was a music thanatologist available to every patient.
Yeah.
But we are spreading the news, and thank you for helping with that. Yeah.
Sure.
Music therapists are trained differently. They're trained, let's just say we are friends and allies, but we work a little bit differently from each other. We are really trained to help people have a peaceful exit,
Mm-hmm.
and the music, one of the most effective things that it does is it really honors a person. When you think about the decline of an individual, most people, about 90% of deaths take, let's just say there's a slow decline. 10% of them happen rather quickly, 90% a longer period of time. And when you think about the geography of a person's world getting smaller and smaller and smaller as they decline until it's the size of a hospital bed. And if I can bring something beautiful to them and honor them in their last months, weeks, days, even hours. I arrived to see a patient last week, and the gentleman had passed. He had passed just a minute or two before I arrived.
Oh.
And the family was there, and I said, well, this is a good time for music as you gather around his bed. And I played, and during the hour that I played, many more family members came and touched the body and wept, and it was a perfect moment for music. So this is medicine that can be used widely.
Yes, yes.
And I think about each one of those people who came gets to walk away with a little snapshot of that moment. And oh, it was so beautiful when I got to say goodbye to dad or grandpa or whatever.
Yeah, that's a memory they'll carry with them.
Yes, and
Hmm.
that's so important.
Yeah, and no, I'm thinking too, in that situation, seems you were there for about an hour. Now, is that like the average length of time, or does that vary? Is there no really average? Could you maybe be with someone for several hours? How does
Yeah,
that work?
it kind of depends on the situation. Each one is unique unto itself. But
Hmm.
I can say generally I play about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes.
Okay,
Just kind
okay,
of depends.
yeah.
In the
So
situation with that family where there were so many people coming, it felt appropriate to stay a little bit longer.
yes, I see, I see. Um, and so I'm just thinking too. So it seems that you really are being called in when that person is truly near their time of transitioning, so to speak. Is that
Yes.
okay? Okay,
Mhm.
I see. And oh, getting back to, you were saying, you appreciate that in this time we get to kind of spread the word a little bit or bring awareness to this type of work. But the training itself to become a thanatologist, I think you said it took you a few years. What is about the amount of time for that training?
Um, the current curriculum, it's a 2-year program. My program took a little bit longer because I had a couple of family emergencies that I needed to attend to.
Mhm.
Life showed up in the middle of that.
Yes, yes. And and I was wondering too. Now, I found you because I thought a few years ago I had run across information about harpist chaplains, and so I had Googled that again, and I came across your information, and I thought, oh, she's not a chaplain, she's a thanatologist. But I'm just saying that's how I found you. How do
Mm.
people usually find you? Are you with a service or an agency? How do people, usually,
Mhm.
how are they able to find you?
Yeah. I'm employed through a community hospice company.
Okay.
And I receive referrals from nurses, social worker chaplains. And I'm kind of on call all the time.
Mm.
And I do my very best to be there. But I can't, I have my own life as well.
Right, right. And so you're saying too, you're employed by a hospice agency, but you get these other referrals even outside of that. Is that true? Is that what you're saying?
I do get some private referrals.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. And so I'm thinking as well, my thought at first is that you're usually going into hospitals or maybe even senior facilities or things of that nature. But are you also, do you go into people's private homes? Because I know with hospice, sometimes someone is actually at home receiving hospice.
Yeah.
I work at a hospice agency. So what are the different
With,
environments?
with a community-based hospice, that means that I go wherever the patient is.
Okay.
And oftentimes that's in a private home. It can be in an assisted living or skilled nursing facility,
Mhm.
occasionally in a hospital, but more often than not, hospice patients are served in a residence of some sort.
Yes. All right. All right. Yes, because
Mhm.
yeah, I also work for community hospice, so I do understand better now. All right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Um, I also understand you had spent some time recently, or maybe you had a residency at Zion National Park. Um, During that time, was it primarily just you and nature, or what happened during that time, your residency there?
Yeah, I was the artist in residence for the month of June in this year, 2025.
Ah, okay.
And I took two harps with me, a small harp that I could put on a backpack frame and carry on the trail and play for people, many tourists, and people are very surprised when they come around a corner and see someone playing the harp, sitting on the edge of a trail. Uh,
Yeah.
and that was a real treat to get to share music in that environment. And the acoustics were so fabulous next to the red rock formations. Really, it was magical for me. And I
Mhm.
think for a few other people as well. And then I did want to hold the idea of what does a tree receive from this music? What
Hmm.
what do the birds hear? And I like the idea that the music is carried on the air, and who knows? Who knows what
Mhm.
who or what live thing might benefit in some way. And I kind of got into this work because our Great Salt Lake up in the north part of the state is struggling. Not enough water is receiving the lake,
Mhm.
is arriving at the lake. um, and so it's an inland sea. It's a saltwater lake, and it's drying up, which is not a good thing.
Right.
So, as an artist, I was asked to do what I could to shine a light on this situation. And so I took my harp to the edge of the water and played as if I was playing to a hospice patient.
Mm.
And it was then that I had this wonderful experience of just sitting in the magic of what are the possibilities?
Mhm. Mhm.
Humans are not the only ones who might benefit from the music.
Yeah.
So that was kind of when I started thinking seriously about playing out in nature and offering my music as a thank you to the beauty, and a bit of an apology for how us humans are not always respectful of
Mhm.
the natural resources around us. and just have some joy in that moment.
Hmm. Hmm. And it sounds to me, Catherine, that you created even a sacred space in that environment. I'm thinking, I had pulled up some photos of the Zion National Park, and it just seems like an amazing, amazing park or area. And it seems you not only got to enjoy that, but you got to express in your own way, an appreciation for God's creation. And so, yeah, it just seems like a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to have had. And, and and with mentioning that, so that does put you or place you being in Utah. And did you say you're in the Salt Lake City area?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, and so going back to how there's only about 100 music um, music-thanatologists worldwide, are many of them located here in the United States, at different parts of the United States, or do you not know?
The practice originated in the Pacific Northwest.
All right.
So that is where most of the music thanatologists live and work. But we have trained music thanatologists in Europe, Australia, Japan.
Okay.
Our numbers are few, but
Mhm.
the work is wonderful.
It seems that it is. And speaking of the work, it sounds to me that it takes a certain type of person to do this work. And so I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about maybe what type of person would be best suited for this. Because, I mean, of course, if you are trained as a music therapist, like you're saying, that would, of course, be helpful. But what other type of qualities do you feel would be um, make a person best suited for what you do?
That's a really good question. Because, we're all wired differently and we
Mhm.
have different capacities. And I entered this work because I knew I could play the harp.
Mhm.
And I was looking for something meaningful to do. And it wasn't until I really got into it that I realized, oh, I'm comfortable being with the dying. I'm
Mhm.
comfortable being in a place where there is suffering, both existential and physiological suffering. I can be in this space, I can hold space for people and make a difference.
Mhm.
And I think every person has to discover that for themselves, whether that is something that they can do.
Yes. Yes.
I had the benefit of caring for my mother, and she had dementia and declined slowly over a decade. So I
Mhm.
spent a lot of time with her in these places, in assisted living and senior living and skilled nursing facilities.
Mhm.
And she was one of the first patients that I played for, my own
Mhm.
mother, which was really kind of bringing things full circle in that she is the one who started me on the harp. And maybe she knew something I didn't know, but it was lovely to get to play for her in her last days.
Isn't that something? Like I'm just pondering what you've said. Yes, she was the one that, you know, pointed you in the direction of
Yeah,
learning to play the harp, and then she becomes the first person that you,
yeah,
I would say, minister to in this
yeah,
way. Yeah, as she's, on her decline, and on her way, transitioning, so to speak.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh my. Um, that's beautiful. Well, uh, Catherine, thank you so much for spending this time with us today and sharing about thanatology. I truly do hope there are others who will consider this if they have, the proper training, especially, first of all, with music, but then contemplating whether they could be the type of person that creates this sacred space for another. So, yeah, I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I would like to give a little shout out to my school. I'm on the faculty of the AccordaA, AccordaA, AccordaA Music-Thanatology Institute.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful 2-year program, including an internship. And I can't say enough good things about the nature of this work, and it really matters.
Yes.
In this world with all these screens and AI and so much technology, it's really an honor to get to serve individuals as they decline and as they leave this planet.
Oh, yes.
We're all going to do it, and it's really a joy to be able to help in some way. We can't change any outcomes, but we can create a sweet and sacred space and really honor that person as they exit.
Yes, yes.
It tells them they really matter.
Well said, Catherine. And with the Accorda Music Thanatology Institute, if you'd want me to, if you want to share that information, I can put that down in the description area under.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
I'll be
send you a
glad
link for that.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be glad to share that information. Well, I'd asked you previously before the interview, would you mind us closing out with a little bit of your harp playing? And you were agreeable to that. So if you don't mind, this is where you can
Sure.
go ahead and get started. And I just thank all of you out there for joining in during this time and spending it with Catherine DeLong and myself. And so until next time, I certainly pray that you would be well, be encouraged, and please be here next time for another 30 minutes with. But for now, Catherine's going to close us out. God bless you all.